So, I've always wondered why anyone who was sane would become an official. Because in all the sports I ever watched, they get yelled at, they get called names, they get blamed for the outcome of all kinds of games. You started as an athlete, and then you chose to become an official. So, did you lose money? Were you forced to do this? What's the explanation?
I went to national championships and I played with the best players in the country. They kicked my butt, so I said, you know what? Better to be a good official instead of being mediocre players.
So once you figured that out, how did you get started in officiating?
To be honest with you, my great buddy sitting there, Derek Mikita, is because of him. He was already official, and he became my mentor, and that's how I started.
What's the best piece of advice he ever gave you?
You have to put work, dedication, work, and spend lots of hours as a volunteer to work from grassroots to, move yourself up with the rank, and you have to put work, lots of volunteer work.
We talked about in your introduction
Yes.
about how you've been to the Olympics.
Yes.
You talked about having the best seat in the house, and I would say that's the best seat in the house for the biggest event. Mm-hmm. What was that like? Do you have any fun stories about your time at the Olympics?
Well, at the Olympics, maybe I tell you a story at the World Championships. I was in Bremen, Germany, and I was officiating quarterfinal team matches between North Korea and South Korea. It was so difficult. So cards was flying out all the time, like red cards for the coaches and athletes, and it was very, very difficult match. So that was my toughest match that I ever had it, and at the World Championships in Bremen. Yes.
Okay, that sounds like an interesting story on its own, for sure. When you arrive at the Olympics, though, what is that like? What's the atmosphere?
Well, Olympics is totally different animal. It's the level of security, then the competition, the preparation. They especially they look for athletes, for officials, for any trademark logos or something. They check you before you go to the venue to officiate the match. It's itself Olympic is totally different. That experience that everyone keep for the rest of the life, because it's totally different. It's demanding great awareness, and not only it's a long tournament, and when you're doing good, you're going to progress as an official, and of course you want to go as far as you can. So it's very difficult, but it's great honor to be at the Olympics or Paralympics. I represent our country, especially that limits for officials is only 1 or 2 for Americans. So it's not like, oh, you apply to go to Olympics. No, you have to be appointed, and it's room for 1 from North America. So imagine how difficult it is to get to Olympics. It's just pinnacle of your career.
I would argue that if you were serious, if you thought you weren't going to get very far as a player, you got farther as an official than any of those guys who were beating you got as a player. And that's worth recognizing, that if you got to the Olympics.
You may be right.
I told you, I'm not wrong very often. So that was important, right? Yeah. In seriousness, though, last year you got this incredibly prestigious honor, yes, the gold badge.
Yes.
Only 19 other people got it last year. How does that make you feel? What's that like?
That is a progress. Years ago, they had international umpires of table tennis, and they decided to have a higher level of officials. They came up around 2003 with a higher level. It was blue badge umpires. So I became blue badge umpire in 2004. It was only 20 of us in the world. And then, more and more officials become a blue badge, let's say 200 or something. So they try to have the highest level of officials. So they come up with a gold badge. To achieve that, you have to pass the exam, advanced rule examination exam. and then to be assessed by the team of referees at some prestigious tournaments, and your score must be 85% or above. And when you do that, then they award you a gold badge officials. That you become gold badge official. It's basically give you more opportunities that they invite you. Those tournaments in Thailand and Colombia and China, that's the tournaments that I went only last year, not over my career. Was last year tournament. So that's how they recognize. And for us, it's also very difficult to compete with officials from Europe and Asia, because, as we know, table tennis is not the center of main sport in Canada. We have a hockey and other sports that is much more important and recognized in the country. So compete with Europeans and Asian officials is extremely difficult, and majority of it is because a cost. They also look at the cost. When they invite officials, they look from Europe, they can spend 200 euros and they are on the tournament. From Canada, they have to spend $1,700. So they always look at the money, you know. Everyone says, oh, you go there, how much money you make? Ask me how much money I lose. That's the proper question. So that is not hockey or something that those officials making great money. No, you have to put money and dedication, and sometimes you're lucky and your trip is paid. Not always.
Well, it's like you said, the best advice you learned from your mentor was you have to put the work in.
Of course.
Not only have you brought recognition to your sport, you've also passed that message on to everyone in attendance and everyone that you have been an official and helped as well. So thank you for that. And if we played table tennis,
yes,
and you used your left hand,
yes,
how many points do you think I would get off of you?
My left hand?
You're not left-handed, are you?
No.
Yeah, you're left hand.
I don't know how good players are you. I have no idea.
I used to tell my friends I was the best kid in the neighborhood who didn't have his own table.
Yeah, but perhaps you can kick my butt, but I don't know. We will have to play.
We'll have to play. We'll find out.
I'm ready.
It would be an honor, and it's an honor to have you. Everyone, Greg Dzioba, thank you so much.